You eat 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night. Like clockwork, you've done it your whole life. So has almost everyone you know. It feels like a law of nature. It isn't. Nobody's body comes with a 3-meal setting. There's no organ that rings a bell at 8 a.m., at noon, and at 6. The truth is stranger than that. Your eating schedule was invented, designed, and then sold to you by monks, by machines, and, believe it or not, by a man trying to move more bacon. By the end of this, you won't look at breakfast the same way again. So let's go back, way back, before menus, before clocks, before meals even existed. Picture your earliest ancestors, hunter-gatherers. No fields, no fridges, no schedule. They didn't eat breakfast. They didn't eat lunch. They ate when there was food. A good hunt was a feast. A bad week was nothing. Their stomachs ran on luck, not on a clock. There was no time to eat. There was only found something to eat. No set breakfast waiting when they woke up. No leftovers packed for later. Just the search and whatever the day happened to give them. Your body was actually built for that uncertainty. It can run for hours, even days, on stored fuel. Feast, then wait. Feast, then wait. For almost the entire history of your species, that is how you ate, whenever you could. So where did 3 rigid meals come from? Follow the trail forward. First stop, ancient Rome. The Romans had a strong opinion about eating. And it might surprise you, they thought eating more than once a day was greedy, almost a moral failing. The respectable Roman ate a single real meal in the afternoon. They called it the cena. Breakfast, looked down on. A little bread, maybe, grabbed on the run, nothing to be proud of. To them, a big morning meal showed a lack of self-control. Gluttony. Sit with that. For a Roman, skipping breakfast wasn't a diet. It was good manners. They were obsessed with digestion. To pile a second meal on top of the first before the first was finished struck them as almost unhealthy. Rich or poor, one solid meal was the ideal. Now jump forward 1,000 years into the Middle Ages, and it gets stricter, because now the church has an opinion too. You weren't supposed to eat before morning prayers. Food came after God, not before him. Eating first thing was tied to gluttony, one of the 7 deadly sins. The very word breakfast comes from this. Break, fast. To break the fast you'd kept all night. The real meal of the day was dinner, eaten around midday, then a small supper at dark. There were exceptions. Laborers, children, the old and the sick could eat in the morning. They needed the fuel. But for a healthy, respectable adult, tucking into breakfast could mark you as greedy, or worse, as weak. So for centuries the pattern was 1 or 2 meals, and breakfast was almost something to feel guilty about, which raises the obvious question. If 1 or 2 meals was normal for thousands of years, what changed? The answer isn't in your body. It's in a building, the factory. In the 1700s, the Industrial Revolution swept across Britain, and it rewired daily life. For the first time, huge numbers of people no longer worked their own land. They worked for a clock, and that clock did something no sun had ever done. It sliced the day into fixed blocks. You couldn't wander home for your midday meal anymore. The factory didn't stop for you. So the meals rearranged themselves around the shift. You ate before the whistle. That became breakfast. And now you needed one to power hours of labor. You ate a quick meal with your co-workers at a set hour. That became lunch. And you ate again once the workday ended. That became dinner. 3 meals. Not because your body asked for them, because the workday demanded them. Think about how strange that really is. A machine in a building you didn't own quietly decided when your stomach was allowed to be full. And there's one more piece: light. Cheap artificial light arrived, gas, then electric. Suddenly the evening didn't end at sunset. People stayed up later. Dinner drifted later with them. And the long gap that opened up needed filling too. Piece by piece, the 3-meal day locked into place. The factory's rhythm quietly became your body's rhythm. But the story isn't over, because the final piece isn't a machine. It's an advertisement. Fast forward to America, the 1920s. Breakfast is still light. Coffee, a roll, maybe a little cereal. Then a company runs into a problem. It sells bacon, and it isn't selling enough of it. So they hire a man named Edward Bernays. Today, he's called the father of public relations, a master of persuasion. Bernays doesn't run an ordinary ad. He does something far cleverer. He asks a doctor one simple question. Wouldn't a bigger breakfast be better for people? The doctor says, sure. Then Bernays has that doctor write to thousands of other doctors asking the very same thing. And soon, newspapers across America print the news. Around 4,500 physicians agree Americans should eat a hearty breakfast, specifically bacon and eggs. It wasn't a study, it was a sales pitch wearing a lab coat. And that's the trick. People don't argue with a headline from thousands of doctors. They just absorb it. Overnight, a heavy breakfast went from unusual to obvious. Bacon sales soared, and the heavy breakfast became truly American. That whole idea, that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It didn't come from ancient wisdom or from your gut. It grew out of marketing exactly like this. You were, quite literally, sold a meal. So step back and look at what you actually inherited. Your hunter-gatherer ancestors ate on luck. The Romans thought breakfast was greedy. The church thought it was a sin. Then a factory clock stacked your day into 3 meals. And an ad man taught you to fill the first one with bacon. Not one piece of that came from your biology. It came from other people's needs, their shifts, their profits, their rules. And here is the part worth keeping. The next time you feel that pull, it's noon, so it must be time to eat. Pause just for a second. That feeling might not be hunger at all. It might be a factory whistle from 200 years ago, or an ad from 1925, still ringing in your head. None of this means 3 meals is wrong. Plenty of people feel great eating that way. It just means the schedule isn't sacred. It was built, and you're allowed to notice who built it and why. Your body kept humans alive for millions of years without a single fixed meal time. It's far more flexible than the clock ever let you believe. For most of your history, hunger came and went in waves, and you simply rode them. The idea that you must eat on schedule 3 times or something is wrong. That is brand new, a blink of an eye in human terms. So eat when you're actually hungry, not only when the whistle blows. If this changed the way you see something you do every single day, I have more like it. Subscribe, and I'll keep pulling the ordinary apart to show you what's hiding inside it. The bell says it's time to eat, but now you know who rang it.